What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from the Quarter. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day. The collective seething from not just musicians, but mainstream media that Spotify continues to stand by Joe Rogan is palpable. Like, you can actually taste it in the air. It's every day, hundreds and hundreds of articles and thousands of tweets demanding censorship, demanding they remove Joe Rogan from their platform. And they're standing by him. Why? Because Joe Rogan makes them hundreds of millions of dollars. It's Spotify's reason for existing. Now, the user forecast just came out, and it's not very good. And there are a lot of other things going on for Spotify that are unrelated to Joe Rogan, but they literally cannot afford to get rid of him. This and more after a quick word from this video sponsor, Sheath. Huge shout out to this video sponsor. That's right, Sheath. These boxers are designed to keep your balls off your legs. Sheath has 3 individual compartments to keep everything down there separate and cool and comfortable. And hey, since they've been a long-time sponsor, I've heard from many of you who have tried out Sheath and really love it. They were invented by a U.S. Army soldier who came up with the idea for Sheath during his second tour in Iraq, where it was hot as heck and his boys needed to breathe. And on top of all sorts of awesome designs for Sheath, they've added all sorts of winter items, hoodies, gator necks, and all sorts of base layers. Head on over to the link in the description and pin comment down below. Use my promo code to save and support the channel and keep everything nice, cool, and dry. We've got the White House coming after Spotify. We've got all sorts of stuff going on, and it's actually pretty hilarious. You can see this article from about 20 minutes ago. Spotify stock dives 17% as dim user forecast overshadows revenue beat. So they had to release their information. We were all waiting for this. Revenues grew 24% to 2.69 billion, crushing expectations of 2.65 billion. Of that premium revenues, this is what Joe Rogan drives. We're up 22% to 2.3 billion versus the expected 2.8. The company's loss per share improved substantially from 21 cents to 21 cents this year from 66 a year ago. User growth for this quarter, meanwhile, essentially met expectations. Monthly active users, you often see this referred to as MAUs, rose 18% to 406 million, in line with the forecast. And total premium subscribers rose 16% to 180 million. So where are all these uninstall Spotify people? It's going to be really interesting to see if, what the next quarter looks like, if they actually, took a hit at all. On the other hand, it is expecting a slow start to 2022. It's forecasting monthly active users of 418 million, short of a consensus for 422 million, and premium subs of 183 million versus 185. 183 million people are paying $10 a month. Do the math. Do the math. This after yesterday, Joe Rogan getting support from Dwayne Johnson, Kevin James, and Jewel amid everything going on. But what's interesting to me is now we have the White House getting involved. The White House press secretary called on the music and podcast streaming giant Spotify to, quote, do more against misinformation on Tuesday. And again, we don't really know what is meant by misinformation. There is genuine misinformation that happens that's harmful, that I don't have any problem with it being labeled as such. But the real quote unquote misinformation definition is ever changing and difficult to follow. We've talked about this many times before. 6 months ago, if you had ever questioned cloth masks, you would have been banned from platforms. Now the CDC is coming out. So like what is misinformation right in this moment often doesn't stay that way. And also, we don't really know you know, how things will change as time goes on. And intent matters, because if there's somebody out there who like knows something is false, I've often talked about how some of my favorite YouTube videos are people who kind of bring to light a lot of these fake cures for things like tinnitus or you know, other health issues. They're my favorite type of videos. And these are people that know for a fact their product doesn't work and they're selling it anyway and promising the world. Like, those people can just get off the internet. I don't care. But it's people who, you know, again, who are just postulating an opinion, who often get labeled as, you know, an evil misinformationer. At her daily press briefing, President Joe Biden's top spokeswoman was asked about the decision by the company to add disclaimers linking to more information hubs and any piece of content that includes discussion of this kind of stuff, the poke, the lockdowns, and the COOF itself. She responded that the change was a good step, but the company could take more steps if they wanted to actively prohibit content that contain misinformation that experts have warned is prolonging the lockdowns and leading to more deaths. So they want them to do more. What is more? What else could they do to proactively, as she puts it? Well, would that be removing him altogether? I hope they do. I gotta be honest with you. I hope they do. Because when the world canceled Alex Jones, it was really easy to for people to be like, he was just a wingnut, you know? And then they harangued him over the school thing, which was dumb, but it gave him the ammo, dumb of him to say, but it gave them the ammo to finally deplatform him. A lot of people looked at that and said, that guy says some crazy things, but I'll move on with my life. If they get Joe Rogan, who will not lose, by the way, will not be deplatformed by the UFC, for example, still has massive following. If they were to deplatform him, that would wake up so many people. Look, Joe's going to be fine anyway. He can take it. He'll take his 15 million active listeners and go back to YouTube or go create his own website and do that. He'll be fine. If he never made another cent in his life, he'd be fine. Miss Psaki was then asked about the responsibility of all companies, particularly those platforms where Americans get their news, to be responsible and vigilant to ensure the American people have accurate information. Again, if you're sharing an opinion now that disagrees with the science TM, you can be banned, right? But then as time passes, if it's determined that you were correct, these people aren't getting unbanned. That's the concern for me. Like, okay, they ended up being right, and we're still going to ban them anyway. She writes, ultimately, our view is that it's a good step, a positive step, but there's more that can be done. And we have a lot of music artists. You know, for many musicians, their grudge against Spotify runs deeper than Joe Rogan. So understand this. Understand this. At the heart of their battle against Spotify, one of the Hanley and others have been waging long before Young sparked the recent backlash is money. For each dollar of revenue Spotify earns, 58.5 cents goes to the owner of the song's sound recording, usually a record label. Spotify keeps $29.38 cents. 6 cents goes to whoever owns the publishing rights, usually the songwriter, and 6 cents goes to the mechanical rights, often but not always owned by the songwriter. According to a financial consulting firm, artists are paid between 0.0033 and 0.0054 cents every time their song is played. Fractions of a penny. It takes an artist an average of 315 streams of a single song to earn $1. Every other music service pays better than Spotify. Napster pays the highest rates, believe it or not, Hanley said. There, for comparison, a song has to be played only 53 times before the artist earns $1. They probably have more ads. So understand that a lot of these musicians aren't exactly loving the platform anyway, right? And if they can take their songs off the platform and get you to go play them on Pandora, they're making 10 times as much money. Just remember that. And all these idiots that are talking about, oh, I'm going over to Apple, ask them about how those kids that are making their phones, all these self-righteous people, like, I'm going to iTunes. Look into who makes their phones. Why they have to have nets for people. It's because their working conditions are so brutal, they jump off the roof. But yeah, go on about Joe Rogan. Hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure you check out Sheath, and we'll talk to you again real soon.